We all want our homes to be that tranquil, cozy fortress that allows us to be at leisure after an eventful day. By simply adding decorative items that suit your taste, creating the desired look and feel is uncomplicated. Andrew Mackenzie makes use of nature-inspired accessories to transform a neutral lounge.
Natural elements in a living space, I always say that nature equals nurture. I find that natural elements always bring warmth and a coziness to interior. If you're going to use a natural element, let's make sure we can see that it's natural, such as the grain of the wood or the stone that you might be using or the weave of the basket. But I think natural interiors add personality, texture, coziness, warmth, and at the moment, certainly trend. We're standing now in what could be considered a very sort of neutral living room environment, which doesn't really have much style. Is it tending towards the organic, the natural, the contemporary? One's not quite sure. And what we're going to do now is show you quick, clever ideas of taking a basic living room and giving it that wow factor, and of course bringing in the subject of using natural elements and of course our Pantone green tones. A home should always have a point of interest, and what I noted about this particular living room is that there wasn't really much happening behind the sofa. So I'm taking opportunity of bringing in our natural element. In this case, we're using some succulents, natural succulents, and of course wicker, which always adds that warm textural element, and just placing it behind here with our mirror, adding a little bit more greenery and just making sure it's nice and full, and of course creating effect at a very cost-effective price. I know you've heard it 100,000 times, accessories make all the difference, and yes they do. In this case I've chosen some green botanical two-dimensional prints for our scatter cushions, just picking up on the succulents that we chose earlier, bringing in a more natural green element to the sofa, and of course taking a normal sofa into a little bit more of an interesting one.
Changing up your living space with new accessories every now and then can keep it current and refreshing. The end result is even more rewarding when you have a good base to work with. Timeless furniture pieces allow you to create endless looks simply by changing your accessories. Zane Pretorius of Block & Chisel tells us about investing in furniture that's trans-seasonal.
I think we've moved on from where we were 10 years ago, where it was more about having something new all the time or on a seasonal basis. And I think what's so wonderful is we've moved back to investing in pieces that have got more longevity. People are wanting to have pieces that can become heirlooms or antiques of the future.
One doesn't always have to throw out your sofa in order to create a new look. Try and look at your sofa with new eyes. For example, here we've got a natural wicker sofa that just has some plain white cushions. And I personally think that's a great choice because one can revolutionize that sofa, in fact, almost seasonally at a very low cost. Don't be afraid to add things to your interior, be it modern or traditional. Sometimes just one object doesn't quite crack the mustard. And just by simply adding another jar with some greenery, just can do the trick. I would like to just give one tip: play on levels, and in that case, levels create interest. The wonderful thing about South Africa is that you can't blink without bumping into wonderful natural and handmade items. Baskets are great and practical, side tables and stools made out of stone. Adding character, personality, and of course, sometimes we're under pressure by that significant other that we're not quite allowed to get rid of certain things, can actually add more interest to a room. So here I've got two rather interesting looking objects, parrots, and I'm going to place them next to our contemporary chair, filling up that space, adding accessories, sense of humor, and of course, complementing the general look. When achieving a contemporary home, but also wanting to inject those natural elements, don't fear, nature doesn't have to take over. For example, if we have a look here, I've now started to introduce some footstools, which are multifunctional. We can use them as side tables, coffee tables, etc. And of course, in terms of bringing a bit of a fun element, and of course, leaning towards the contemporary, a bright spot of red.
I think when buying anything, and I suppose this boils down to whether it be fashion or home industry, is don't be afraid to really look over the piece and say, for example, if you're buying a sofa or an armchair, take a moment to sit in a piece. Take a moment to investigate a piece. If you're buying a cupboard, open the cupboard doors. Have a look at the inside. Have a look at the hinges and those smaller details that for you at the time might not be important, but in the long term are going to show the wear and tear of a piece.
Well, there we have it. There we have our contemporary home injected with our natural elements. And I don't know about you, but I know that I think Bella and I are quite happy. The only question is, hopefully our client will be. Come on, Bells.